Welcome to Fanatics Live, where we virtually connect you with your favorite stars and athletes right at home. Tonight, we will be meeting with fans, signing autographs, and engaging in live Q&A. Now, let's welcome our host.
What's up, everybody? My name is MC, and welcome to another episode of Fanatics Live, bringing your favorite athletes and stars to you right at home. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that tonight's show is brought to you by the FanChats Rewards Card by Fanatics. As a card holder, you receive perks and benefits, including access to unforgettable experiences with athletes. You earn 6% fan cash on every purchase, exclusive deals, offers, and much, much more. There's always a lot of conversation besides who's the GOAT when it comes to sports and players. And this guest is a contender for the greatest catcher of all time. Though his career began as an underdog, he started off as the last pick, but over 30 years' time, and with 427 home runs to his name, 16 seasons of baseball under his belt, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about at this point. So let's go ahead and bring on Mike Piazza. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you as well. Nice to have you on. Happy opening day.
Happy opening day. It's good to be here, and it's good to get another season underway. So it's good news.
Well, before we let the fans take over, they're the meat of the show. They're the ones who drive it. But I want to start off with a couple of questions of my own, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So obviously, like I said, you're one of the most decorated catchers of all time. And you were the last pick of the 1988 draft, but you worked your way up and you were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2016. So I wanted to know how you used your selection as motivation as you entered the league, way back when.
Yeah, well, it was the circumstances were very interesting. I had been drafted, as a lot of you well know, in the last round with the Dodgers. Actually was a decent high school player from Pennsylvania, but I came down to the University of Miami and didn't do well my first year. I think I had like 9 at-bats for the Hurricanes. And I didn't really see myself playing in the next year or two, so I decided to transfer to Miami-Dade College, Miami-Dade North. And at that time, I was playing first base. Actually wasn't a bad defensive first baseman and decent little hitter. I mean, again, coming out of Pennsylvania, coming to Florida, it was definitely a culture shock because the kids down here obviously had a lot more games under their belt, more experience because of the weather. But nonetheless, the Dodgers and Tommy, my sophomore year, drafted me, and that's when we kind of started putting the idea together of changing to converting into a catcher. Mm-hmm. So at that point, the Dodgers had signed Eric Karros and Henry Rodriguez and another couple of really good first basemen. So they basically said to me, "You're not going to play first base." So I think maybe being a first baseman obviously helped at least push my status down into the draft. When I signed with the Dodgers and became a catcher, then obviously my stock started rising because I could always swing the bat pretty well. Yeah. And that was obviously my strong suit. And then I just went to work. I went to work catching. I started playing in the winter ball and instructional league and got experience, and then started getting in some big league games in spring training. And fortunately, I grew pretty well defensively as well as offensively, which I said, most people knew it was my strong point. But yeah, I used it for motivation because when you don't, you're not a first round pick and the team doesn't have a lot of money invested in you. You're not exactly expected to be a prospect, so right. You don't get the same treatment. So you just have to, I always say you have to have a little luck as well. I was lucky I was with the Dodgers and they didn't have a lot of catching depth. And it was at the right place, the right time, had great coaches. So a lot of things went into the recipe. And fortunately, I worked hard and had the success that I had.
Yeah, I was going to say right place, right time, but you covered that. I guess that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, timing is a big thing. It is important.
For sure. So Hall of Fame, pretty big deal, obviously. That's the mecca. That's where every player wants to get eventually. But what player are you still kind of in shock or in awe that you share that honor with?
Well, it's obviously emotional for a player to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I grew up in Philadelphia area, and Mike Schmidt was my idol as a kid. I used to watch him all the time. My dad had really good seats at the Vet, and I used to be a fan of those Phillies teams of the 70s. So actually, when he came to my induction, it was so special for me because he was the guy I loved as a kid. Johnny Bench, who I think, as I've said in my speech, was kind of set the benchmark, pardon the pun, for all catchers. Carlton Fisk there, obviously. Gary Carter, who has left us, has passed on. I was a big fan of his. I mean, even not Hall of Fame catchers, guys like Bob Boone and John Stearns, who was, an athletic type catcher with the Mets, stole a lot of bases. Benito Santiago, who used to throw from his knees. Playing against him was kind of cool because I was a big fan of his. I mean, it was ironic when I came up. I told him, first time I think he was with Florida, I believe, in '93. So I actually said, I'm a big fan. He was kind of shocked, which is cool. Yes. So, I mean, as a player, you have to be a fan, as I am now. I mean, before you played and during, obviously, you got to be serious and get your work done. And,
right.
But still, that was pretty cool and obviously very emotional.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
You brought it up, so this is a great segue for me, but you're loved by Mets and Dodgers fans all over. But I'm pretty certain you probably have some lifelong Marlins fans after your 8 days with the team. So what was your craziest or most memorable standout moment of your short stint with Miami?
I actually have a triple as a Marlin, which I think in my career, I think I have maybe 5 or 6 triples throughout the 16 years I played, obviously not being the fastest of foot. And I believe, I don't know how many games, but I had like 4 or 5 RBIs. It was funny. My one funny Marlin story is when I got traded, I knew they weren't going to keep me, and I knew they were just kind of holding me to get a better deal and get prospects and whatnot because the team at the time, they were dismantling a World Series champion, and they just were not going to retain those guys that I was traded for, Sheffield and Charles Johnson and Jim Eisenreich and Bobby Bonilla. But I just remember the first day, and I was on the bench, and Jim Leland, who was the manager, said, you're probably not going to play. Just keep in shape. We're going to get you out of here soon. And I remember being on the bench. I didn't even have spikes on. I was sitting there, and there was a pinch hit situation in the 7th inning. And he goes, Piazza, grab a bat. You're hit. And I swung at the first pitch and actually hit a sac fly. There was a guy on third, less than 2 outs. But I just went into him. I was like, I thought I wasn't playing. So maybe it was a good situation. I didn't get to think about it. But ended up having it. And then I played the next day. I mean, and it was just, look, it was a tough situation because the team was not doing well. But, I played with Cliff Floyd and Todd Dunwoody and a couple of young kids that maybe Marlins fans will remember. So, yeah, I mean, it is part of my history. It's something that people like
part
to
of
have
the story, exactly.
Absolutely.
So you've been retired for a while now, and everybody loves to reminisce on good baseball memories. But what's been keeping you busy, and then what do you miss most about playing?
I'll do the last first. You miss the guys. I mean, you miss the camaraderie of the team. You miss the road and hanging out and going out to get steak and really fun dinners with the guy. You just miss basically having a job. I mean, if that makes sense, because that was the thing you've done your entire adult life. And the first part of the question was I'm sorry.
What's been keeping you busy all this time?
So I work with the Mets. I'm part of their alumni, their alumni group. We do a lot of community relations, sponsor relations. So this year, now that the pandemic hopefully is the worst days are behind us, I'll be in New York a couple of times in the summer. We're gonna put a few players in to be named into the Hall of Fame. We have Tom Seaver statue, which will be in front of Citi Field, hopefully. And then obviously this year is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So I'll be back in September for that game. I think they're playing the Yankees, which will be obviously an emotional
Huge
night.
game, yeah.
But I enjoy, I love still being with the Mets and working with them. And I was in spring training a few weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. The guys were great. They were like, hey, you don't come around. And I'm one of those guys, like, I don't want to be in the way. I feel like a dinosaur, but I mean, Jacob DeGrom and all the guys there, they were just like, dude, you don't come around.
Hang out with us.
Exactly. So, maybe I'll spend a little more time. I don't want to be in the way, but and obviously with COVID, it's been a little difficult to be more accessible, but I look forward to it. I really do. And so that's pretty much what I'm doing in the game. And then our family's in the car business in Philadelphia. If anybody needs a good deal on a car, Piazza Auto Group, check it out.
Check it.
Yeah, we do. I come from an entrepreneurial family. And so when I retired, I was fortunate to go back into the business world. So I stay busy living in Italy now. Yeah, my kids are going to school in Italy. I'm going back actually on Saturday. So
it's amazing.
It's fun. Yeah. I mean, it's been tough again with the pandemic, but we're getting by. A lot of tests.
You're getting very used to it at this point.
Yeah,
good to know you're staying busy, and I'm sure the guys at spring training and even once you go back for some games, they're always super excited to see you.
That was fun.
People who might be even more excited to see you are the guests that we have dialed in live right now to ask you some questions. So I'm going to kick things off with our first guest of the evening. His name is Daniel. He's calling in from the Cayman Islands. Very fancy. I wish I was there. He believes that you and Tom Seaver are the best to have ever put on a Mets uniform. And he said if he was in a hypothetical Hall of Fame, it would be for his OCD because it's made him an incredible accountant, which I thought was a really good take on that. So let's bring on Daniel.
How's it going, Mike?
Hey, how you doing, Daniel? Good to see you.
I'm not sure why the MC had to out me as an accountant to start off this, but we'll just keep moving from there.
It's okay.
You got Sophia and Danny here from sunny tax-free Cayman Islands.
Awesome.
It's a pleasure to meet you and see if I can get this question out in under 90 seconds. So I was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing your thoughts on a very specific at-bat, which was certainly the most memorable sports moment I was ever in the crowd for. So the first game in New York after 9/11, you come to the plate, I think it was the bottom of the eighth. We're down by a run against our arch enemies, the Atlanta Braves, and you got 55,000 New Yorkers chanting USA, waving American flags, just looking for a reason to erupt after that, last 2 weeks. And you hit an absolute bomb to center field to go ahead home run to, give us the lead, and we go on to win that ball game. And as you're approaching the batter's box in that situation with all the emotion in the crowd, what's going on in your head? Is it really business as usual? Are you going up there just looking for a particular pitch or just looking to drive the ball? Are you able to tune that crowd out? Or was that just a little bit different? And then maybe as a beat of that is, after hitting that home run, I actually watched the highlight the other day. You circled the bases like you just hit a home run in spring training, right? Like business as usual, while the fans are losing their minds. At what point or has the significance of that home run to Mets fans and to New Yorkers really ever kind of sit in?
Well, it's interesting. I think athletes in general, we are creatures of habit, and we rely on a routine sort of to try to achieve consistency throughout our careers, whether that be in baseball or any other sport for that matter. And as you mentioned, that week was something completely different. I mean, it's still difficult to think back because it was something so even still very vivid in my mind. And that game was difficult for a number of reasons, for the obvious reasons of the tragedy of the week and the pain and the sorrow that everyone had experienced, and losing family members and coworkers and uncles and all those, and brothers and all those things. And the fact is we were off for a week. So from a purely baseball perspective, it was, your timing, you rely on timing. And so we were off for a few days until we decided, or baseball decided to resume. So all these factors made it very difficult. But to be honest with you, as a player, you also have to channel adrenaline, and you have to channel that energy and you have to refine it. You can't really allow it to take over your sort of game, so to speak. So I just remember, and I'm a very spiritual person, so I remember praying a lot, and I remember being on the line saying, Lord, please just help me get through this night. And it kind of calmed me down. And in that situation, even though it was a big situation, I remember an incredible amount of peace coming over me. I was I hate to say in the zone, that's a cliche, but I was just completely relaxed and comfortable. I remember the one thing about that at bat, though, as I took a strike off Carsey, and the first pitch was kind of right down the middle. And as I stepped out, I said, shh, well, keep it clean. I said, shoot, I think I took yeah, there you go. I'll keep it clean. I said, darn it. I think I just let that pitch go by. I think I could have drove the pitch. And, he, in his defense, he just comes right at you. He wasn't trying to trick me there. And ironically, he did have a good curveball that he didn't throw a lot. I didn't think he was going to throw it in that situation. So as soon as I saw the heater and it was a little down and I kind of stayed with the pitch and really got a good barrel on it and drove it. But yeah, I mean, I think also I don't think anybody really understood that. I mean, of course it was a big home run in a big situation, but I think as the years have gone by, it's obviously taken on a lot more significance. So at the time I was excited, obviously, but then as a player, you got to refocus and we still have to get a few outs and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I kind of recall if that's kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah. It was just interesting to hear again, like what's going through a batter's mind, like how well you can kind of get that tunnel vision. So always interested to get your thoughts on that. So yeah, I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, my pleasure. God bless, man.
That was an amazing question, Daniel. It's really cool to hear those moments from people.
That's what counts too. We raise amazing questions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let's get your helmet autographed.
Oh, yeah.
One sitting there for Daniel.
Okay. This is your helmet. It's opposite here with the.
Yeah, it's a little opposite. Yeah. We're in the virtual world. We got to adapt.
There you go.
All right. Well, congrats on a great career.
Number 31.
Great watching your play.
There you go, man.
Awesome.
God bless. Thank you.
No worries.
Have a good night.
Well, great. Wow, that was a great story. I could listen to. We talked with Mike Richter from the Rangers, kind of a similar question to him of his first game back at Madison Square Garden after 9/11. And just the stories are incredible to hear. So thanks for sharing that with us, Mike. Up next, we have Chase and Corey. They're calling in from Fort Myers, Florida. Chase's aunt is actually a FanCash card holder, but she gifted it to Chase, so he gets to call in today. He has never been to Citi Field, but he's watched as many Mets games as he can, and he gets to see you guys play when y'all come down for spring training. So let's talk to Chase and Corey.
How we doing, Mike?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thanks for taking the time today. Chase has a question for you, Mike.
I have. How did how did your relationship with Tommy Lasorda impact you as a baseball player and as a person?
Well, I mean, my relationship with Tommy was something that was ever since I was young. And the first time I met Tommy I think he was still the third base coach for the Dodgers. I think it was 1976. And I was at the game, and my father grew up with Tommy in Norristown, Pennsylvania. So we were at the vet, and my father started yelling at Tommy from the third baseline, and we were real close to the coaching box. And he walked over and hugged my dad. And I just remember as a kid being so impressed that, my dad knew one of the coaches from the Dodgers. And they were close friends. I mean, I wrote a lot about it in my book, The History of Tommy. I mean, Tommy's from Norristown, Pennsylvania. My father is. I was born there. Tommy was Italian-American. My father and I are Italian-American, obviously. So there was just a lot of things they had in common. They're blue-collar guys. I mean, my dad tried to play baseball, but he eventually went into the Army, and then he came out and went into the car business, and Tommy obviously went into baseball. And the thing I love about Tommy is that a guy that really, and he'll be the first to have told you that he didn't have a lot of talent, but he had a lot of guts and determination, was very focused, and never really let anybody tell him he couldn't do it, and was tough. I mean, he would fight people at a dime on the drop of a hat. And so, yeah, I mean, he taught me a lot. But as far as a manager, he was a motivator. I mean, he would get you to believe in yourself and get you to achieve more than you even thought you were capable of achieving. And yeah, I mean, he was a lot of fun to play for, and he's definitely a throwback. I mean, there's not a lot of personalities. I don't know if there ever will be another Tommy Lasorda, but his legacy will live on, and his love for the game, being a goodwill ambassador for baseball, will live forever.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. All right.
Good seeing you guys.
Another great question. We're going to get that helmet signed for you guys.
Right.
Hall of Fame inscription put on there. Where are you going to put this helmet, guys?
Probably on the shelf in my room so I can have it forever.
Sick.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it.
God bless, guys. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Enjoyed it.
Awesome questions. They make my job look really easy. They're just
And he's a young
carrying
guy
it for
too,
me.
so I mean, probably didn't get to see Tommy in action. So it's nice that his dad is
attention.
obviously
Yeah.
bringing him in to the history of the game. So that's very cool.
Okay, last and definitely not least is Mike. He's calling in from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Wow.
And he was a sports car dealer when you started to break into the big league scene. And he said, what an amazing rookie season by you. That's what kind of made him start following your career. And if for the hypothetical Hall of Fame we talked about earlier, it would be for the never quit Hall of Fame. He's never been discouraged by the challenges, and he always keeps pushing through. So let's bring on Mike.
Aloha, Mike.
Hey, what's up?
Good to see
Aloha,
you.
man.
Good to see
Aloha.
you. So I live in Hawaii. We don't have professional sports. I've never really been a team fan, but I love certain players, and you're definitely on my list of favorite baseball players of all time. And, my question is, as a normal guy, I'll never have the physical attributes, but I always like to strengthen my mind. And so my question is, with such a long career, how do you stay focused and positive and motivated? What's the secret of someone with a career like yours?
That's a great question. I did this commercial with John McEnroe around 2001 or 2002, and he kind of confirmed what I always thought, but he kind of crystallized it for me. And he said, and I think we were talking about Pete Sampras or someone like that, and he had mentioned that as an athlete, you always have to find ways to motivate yourself. And players play for different reasons. Like, believe it or not, one of the things that drove me was fear of looking bad. Like I didn't like striking out. I didn't like mates. And personally, I was kind of embarrassed by that. And it made me angry, And so, but the good thing is that you can use that as motivation. And as I said, you always have to find ways. I mean, it was like as a hitter, if I had one to hit a game, I wanted two. If I had two, I wanted three. I wanted three. I never really said, okay, I got one hit this game, or maybe two. I don't have to concentrate. I always wanted to keep getting hits or keep getting, the 3-for-4s or the 4-for-4s. So it's just internal. I mean, motivation has to come from within. Like I would say, two things that come from within are motivation and pressure. I mean, pressure is self-inflicted, and motivation should be self-inflicted. So you really, you have to find something to inspire you. You have to find something to drive you. You have to, I mean, even on a small scale, just something simple. Again, if you're losing weight, just you lose a pound a week. You have to be realistic, but you also have to be realistic and pragmatic too. You can't be unrealistic. You can't say, like I could say right now, I want to be an astronaut. They're probably not going to take me as an astronaut, so that's not realistic. So you have to kind of, if that makes sense, if you're unrealistic, then you're going to lose focus and you're probably going to get frustrated. So does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. I appreciate that. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's get that helmet signed for you, Mike. We got a lot of mics on my phone right now. Mike's everywhere.
I know.
Best name. It's the best name. It's the GOAT name.
Yeah, you're GOAT by association, Mike. Just because you're on the call today.
There you go, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mahalo. Aloha.
Mahalo, man. Aloha.
Awesome. That was great. Well, that's all that we have for our live meet and greet guests, but we do have a couple of videos that people got to send in on social media. So if you are not following Fanatics on Instagram, please do so right now. And we post boxes for you to submit your best questions to our guests, just like this, and you might have a chance to have it featured on screen and answered live. So let's start with Jeff.
Hey, Mike. My name is Jeff Ehall. I'm from Boston. This is Raleigh. He comes to opening night, the Subway Series, and playoff games at Citi Field. Growing up with my dad and brothers being Yankee fans, I was very thankful my mom saved me and made me a Mets fan at a young age. So I wanted to ask you, in the return to Shea after 9/11, Did you know that home run that you hit was gone off the bat, or were you kind of willing it as you jogged out of the box there? Thank you for all the amazing memories over the years, and let's go Mets.
Cool. I remember I felt like I hit the ball pretty well. I mean, it wasn't the tip. Like I said, the ball was down a little bit over the plate, but I hit it pretty well. So as soon as I hit it, I thought to myself,
yeah, you probably trust yourself a little bit.
Kind of knew it was gone. There was a few times where it always happens where you hit a ball well and you're like, oh, that could be gone, and it doesn't. Usually when I got older, those balls started to become
dropping a little bit
shorter. Yeah, shorter and shorter. That's when I knew it was time to retire. But yeah, I mean, that one in particular, I kind of did feel right off the bat it was probably going to go.
Yeah, you gotta trust your bat. You gotta trust.
Yeah.
I mean. Up next is Jonathan.
Hey Mike, my name is Jonathan. I am 16 years old. I am a diehard Mets fan. You are one of my favorite players of all time. My question for you is, who was the most influential teammate of yours to the Mets' success in the late 90s and early 2000s? Thanks, Mike.
Wow, these questions are great. Being a catcher, I had a great relationship with Al Leiter. I mentioned him in my Hall of Fame speech. Him and I would obviously joke with each other. We would inspire each other. We would challenge each other. And I always liked catching for him. But that team, 99 in particular, we had a great infield. I tell people all the time, I don't know about is a challenge me or someone that was influential, but I just loved Ray Ordonez as a shortstop. I think he was incredible shortstop. I mean, I had never seen anything like this guy before or after. Didn't hit that great, but I mean, he was so incredible as a shortstop. And I mean, on everything, on pop-ups. I mean, he would go all the way out in the left field and dive, over the line. I mean, he threw his debut. I think he threw a guy out from his knees and at home plate. So, on that team, I think the next year he got hurt a little bit and he didn't play, and that was sad for me because I really loved watching him play. I mean, as a catcher and watching him make the plays,
right? It
was really impressive. So
you get the interesting view watching it unfold on the field, like wanting it to come back to you eventually.
I still go on YouTube and watch Ray Ordonez highlights because I think to myself, was he that good? And then I go back and watch him. I go, yeah, he was better than that. So yeah, he was a lot of fun to watch, no question.
Awesome. Well, that's it for social media. So like I said, follow us on Fanatics on Instagram, and you can have an opportunity to submit your questions to one of these shows. So before we keep going, before I put you in the rapid fire hot seat, we're going to take a small break for a word from our sponsor.
Introducing the FanCash Rewards Credit Card by Fanatics. Earn 6% FanCash when you shop with your card on Fanatics.com with exclusive cardholder perks and 6-month special financing on purchases of $150 or more. Text now to apply or go to Fanatics.com.
Like I said before, tonight's show is brought to you by the FanCash Rewards Card by Fanatics. For more information on exclusive perks and benefits of being a card holder, you can head on over to Fanatics.com for more information. Or you can see that number on the bottom of our screen. You can text Fanatics to 94323 and apply for your card today. Okay, Mike, this is when things get serious.
Right.
The show's been really amicable up until this point, but now you're in rapid fire. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, the rule is no thinking. I want the first thing that comes into your mind. Okay? Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
First record you ever bought?
Rat Out of the Cellar.
One word to describe the Italian culture?
Food.
Fair. Your most fun baseball rivalry?
Yankees.
Favorite cigar?
A Cohiba Behiki, it's called.
Whatever he just said. Yes.
Yeah. Anyone who knows cigars know what that is.
Toughest pitcher to catch?
Tom Candiotti.
Okay, this one's good. Something non-sports related that you're competitive about.
Oh, is pool a sport? I don't think so, right?
No, I wouldn't classify it.
Okay. Oh man, now I'm thinking. Something non-sport related that I'm competitive. Okay, board games.
Okay, fair.
That's not a sport, yeah.
We'll fact check and see if billiards or pool is a real sport. But
Yeah.
now we know you're a pool shark too.
Yeah.
Okay. In your opinion, who is the GOAT when it comes to soccer?
Definitely Messi.
Mm-hmm. That's easy.
Didn't win a World Cup yet, but he's
so good.
done everything else.
Okay, a retirement hobby that you picked up or mastered?
Napping.
You have more free time to nap, and now you're a master of napping. Great. Okay, and then I always like to end on a fun question. This one you can think about for a little bit longer. But
Okay.
if you were in a metal band, what would your stage name be?
Wow. So I'd be the drummer, and I would be. Wow. How about Earthquake Mike?
Ooh, that was good. That I think we're sold. Okay, we're gonna start a band. I can't do much of anything, but I will be a great backup snapper or dancer. Put me on the tambourine. I got you.
All right. You play the tambourine. That's easy. That's pretty much what I play now because my talent is not that good. So.
Well, that is all the time we have today, Mike. That was so much fun. I wanted to thank you for your time, and I wanted to give the floor if you want to say anything to anybody watching or your fans. Just you can have the moment.
Yeah, no, I really want to thank everyone for their support. I'm going to thank all the fans that support me and the Mets and that are coming back to baseball after a difficult season. I want to say we appreciate you, and we know it's been a tough year with the pandemic, and you're coming back, so that's very important. And I love this game. I always will. So. Thanks for supporting Fanatics. Thanks for remembering, my stuff, buying my stuff. I'm glad you enjoy it, and I enjoy signing it for you. So God bless you guys, and hopefully we'll see everyone in person soon.
Yep. Thanks, Mike. It was fun catching up.
All right. God bless.
Okay. All right, everybody. That is the end of our show, but it never stops there. It never does. We are staying in New York City, and I know I probably shouldn't say this team on the show, but we're going to the Yankees on April 11th with Andy Pettitte at 6 p.m. And then we are jumping right on over to the New York Giants with Phil Simms. He had 15 seasons for the team, so it'll be fun to catch up with this legendary quarterback and get to hear some updates from him. So if you, like I said, you need to follow us on social media. You'll see us ask you for questions for both of those shows, and you can have a chance to be on this show. For more information on how to be involved or to watch our previous broadcasts, you can head on over to fanatics.com/live. My name is MC. This has been so much fun. Stay safe and have a good night.